This happened to me 2 to 3 years ago. I was around 23 at the time. I am a female and I live in Romania. One night I was coming home from class, master's. Classes start after 6 p.m. and end at 10 p.m. At around 11 p.m. I had to take the subway for about 12 stops. The destination I had to get off at was at the end of the line for the subway. At that time, there wouldn't be many people in the subway. I'm a pretty lonely person. All I need is my headset and my music and I'm good to go. Said and done, I plug in my music. I pick the furthest chair in the subway away from the only two people that were taking the subway with me at that time. So far, so good, until I see with the corner of my eye a silhouette approaching me and sitting right next to me. It was a man, fairly built, dark hair, wearing glasses, a black shirt with a black hoodie, and a sickening smile. He doesn't engage in talking with me, but would just stare at my phone as I would browse through my music. I can hear him breathe heavily, not like painfully, but still, like he was feeling something very strong. I feel uneasy, so I decide to change my seat and go even further behind, trying to avoid him without looking like a freak myself. I don't know to whom. There was just another person with us the whole way. I guess that scared me even more. I pick a new chair, sit down, plug my headset again, and proceed with the remaining 6 out of 12 stops on my way home. I see the silhouette growing bigger and bigger and a breeze running on my skin as I realize the guy is again sitting right next to me, glancing in midair, dead eyes, a big smile, staring right into my phone. I panic. There are still 4 stops to go. I have nowhere to hide. I look after the other person in the subway trying to sit next to her, thinking that strength comes in numbers. She's no longer there. I start shaking a bit, but not allowing the creeper to notice me being vulnerable. I stand up, go to the door, and just decide to stand until my stop comes. This way he won't sit next to me, right? Wrong. He comes straight after me, sits on the chair right near the door, and because he couldn't see my phone, on which he was so focused so far, from that angle, he fixates me right in my soul with his black dead eyes and says, "Hi, gorgeous. Why are you avoiding me?" I'm freaking out as I look at my phone trying to call my boyfriend or message him, and he stops me by saying, "I know no one will help you. You would have sent an SOS message by now. I know you didn't." That moment, I realize I am cornered. He has been focusing on my phone to see who I was talking to, trying to figure out if I panicked, trying to see if I would ask someone for help. He cornered me bad. I had the luck to reach my stop as I would delay any reaction or ignore him so that he would repeat whatever he wanted to say. I drop off and run for the exit, not looking back. I get out at the surface and I don't see him anymore. At this moment, I put my phone in my purse and realize I had pepper spray with me all along. My heartbeat comes back to normal as I know at least I have something to defend myself with, but still a long way to get home. And who knows if he's alone or not. I walk rather fast for maybe 5 minutes from the metro and feel a hand grabbing my wrist hard and pulling me back. Another hand covering my mouth, disabling me from screaming my lungs out. It was him. The same black hoodie, dark hair, and dead-eye stalker. He was furious and said, "Running from me? How dare you run from me? You should be honored I give you attention. I am fairly built for a woman, 80 kilograms and 1.75 m tall. So I guess he thought men don't find me beautiful or something and should feel blessed a creep like him stalks me and tries to hurt me. Now my phone is in my bag. I can't call the police. I can't reach for the pepper spray. I panic. I can't punch him in the crotch. I can't scratch him as I don't have long nails. His hand is still on my mouth. What do? I did the most desperate and disgusting thing I could think of just to save my life. I played along. I used my other hand to touch the inside of his thigh and mumble a "I'm sorry" while his hand was on my mouth. He took his hand off my mouth and I repeated that "I'm sorry." I didn't realize he was just flirting. He left his guard down and took his hand off my wrist. He asked me for my phone number and address to drop me off, but I refused, saying I'd rather add him on Facebook, and he agreed. I told him I'd reach for my phone, but instead picked the pepper spray and got him sprayed all over his face. Made sure I covered both his eyes, nose, mouth, even his ears and hands. He instantly got all red, suffocating from the pepper and swelling. I called the police, told them what had happened and what I did. They asked me if he was immobilized, and I said yes, as the effect wears off in 45 minutes. The police arrived there 5 minutes later to see me shaking like a leaf and a man on the ground, swollen like a pumpkin, throwing up and swearing me between gasps of breath. He was arrested, and the police told me they had been looking for him for the past week as they discovered the body of a 24-year-old woman in his apartment. Fairly built lady, 1.77 m tall, 75 kg, red hair. I have red hair too. The woman was his girlfriend, and ever since, he's never gotten back to the apartment. I do not know what he wanted to do with me. I can understand why he targeted me due to the similarities, but stranger in the subway stalking women at midnight, trying to befriend them, or even worse, murder them? I hope to God you and I never meet again.
This happened to me in the summer of 2015. I was dating a guy who lived in the city, and I was living at home at the time in the suburbs. Neither of us had a car, and since I lived at home with my bedroom right next to my grandma's, I always went to him. I'd take the subway to his place every week and stay for the couple of days I had off from work. To get to his apartment required taking 2 trains. One day, I was headed to see him. It was super hot out, and I was wearing a skirt with straps, a crop top, and knee-high socks. Hey, I wanted to look cute. I guess I feel this is important, as I probably stood out in this outfit, and unfortunately, I probably should have been more careful about what I was wearing, which sucks. Anyway, I'm on the first train, and after a few stops, I notice a man get on. I kind of couldn't not notice him, as he chose to stand right in front of where I was sitting and stare at me, rather than take an empty seat. It made me feel weird. The man in general gave me a very creepy vibe. He was probably in his 40s, looked unkempt, but otherwise kinda just a basic white dude whose face I can't even picture now. So, I get off at the last stop and head through the station to where I need to catch the second train, but I notice this guy is following me, which at first I figured wasn't a big deal. He could have been just going to the same place. So to get to the platform I needed to be, you have to go up some stairs, and I realize he's right behind me. I decided to turn around and go to a different platform, which happened to be packed with people, thinking if he follows me, then this is bad, but maybe I can lose him in the crowd. He follows me, and I try to duck out of view before going back to the actual platform I needed to be waiting on. I get there, and for a few minutes I feel better, until I see him again. He must have known I'd be there after I'd gone up there and then turned around. Plus, it was the only other platform, and most likely he saw me the whole time. There weren't too many people waiting compared to the other side, but a few trains came that were so full I didn't bother to try and get on, and neither did he. The whole time I am texting my boyfriend, who is not taking me seriously at all. I asked he at least meet me at the station when I got to the stop by his apartment, a 5-minute walk, and he was being reluctant but agreed finally. At this point though, I'm still waiting for a train. One comes that's very full, but I'm getting restless and I want to get to a safe place, so I squeeze on, and so does the man right next to me with his arm over me. I decide that even with all these people around, I'm not safe, so right before the doors close, I hop out and the train leaves with the guy on it, staring at me as it pulled away. I waited for a few more trains to come and go, worried the guy would be waiting for me at the next stop or something. I got on a train finally, paying attention to everyone who got on at each stop. He never did, and I made it to my stop, greeted by my boyfriend who seemed put out by having to walk over. He is an ex-boyfriend and was generally kinda shitty. I'm really proud of myself for getting off that train at the last second. I don't know how much danger I was in, but I know that man was following me and definitely wasn't for any wholesome reason. And despite being in public, I feel like if he had tried anything, no one would have done shit, and I am a very small and not strong person.